The year was 1978. Do you remember where you were and what you were doing? Do you remember the music? Hi, I'm Mr. Mike. That's what the kids at church call me. And welcome to this episode of In My Musical Opinion, the channel where I go through every number one hit song according to the US Billboard Pop Charts from a year in rock and roll history. Tell you who recorded the song, how many weeks it remained in the number one position, and maybe a few more interesting bits of musical trivia. And then, after I go through every number one song, I'll be giving you my musical opinion to my top 5 songs from that list of number ones. So stick around to the end. Before we get into today's video, I hope you will give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and new subscribers to this channel are always welcome. Today, I'll be going through the year 1978. What was I doing? Well, my wife gave birth to our first child, a son. I did my best to introduce him to rock and roll. When he was a newborn, I would put him to sleep by holding him while walking around our pool table, listening to Linda Ronstadt's greatest hits. Yes, it was rock and roll brainwashing in progress. But what about the 1978 music? Well, let's go through every number one hit song from 1978. There are 20 number one songs in 78, with only 6 of them at number one for only 1 week. Songs in 1978 had some great staying power, and I think that's good. Then stick around to the end to see which ones are, in my musical opinion, my top 5 hits from that year. Think we'll agree on any of them? Well, maybe. And if we don't, that's always okay. Kicking off at number 1 for the year 1978 is How Deep Is Your Love by the Bee Gees. Written by the Gibb brothers, Barry Gibb, Robin Gibb, and Maurice Gibb, the song remained at number 1 for the final 2 weeks of 1977, and then begins 1978 at number 1 for 1 week, making it a US number 1 hit song for a total of 3 weeks. Following the Bee Gees is a new group to have a number 1 in the US. The group is Player, and the song, Baby Come Back. The song was written and performed by Peter Beckett and J.C. Crowley, the founders of Player. Rumor has it that Baby Come Back was written after 2 of the band members had broken up with their girlfriends. Wonder if those ladies ever did come back. The song spent 3 weeks at the number 1 position. The Bee Gees were a force in the music industry. At their induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1977, Barry Gibb said this, and I quote, "We are the enigma with a stigma," end quote. Well, you can think what you want about the Bee Gees, but I say they were great songwriters, musicians, and singers. Their next number 1 hit, Stayin' Alive, stayed at number 1 for 4 weeks. Nothing like being kicked out of the #1 spot on the charts by your baby brother. Our fourth #1 for 1978 is Love is Thicker Than Water by Andy Gibb. Songwriting credit is given to both Barry and Andy Gibb for this song, although Andy says his only contribution to this song was that he thought of the title, and Barry did the rest. Thicker Than Water stayed at #1 for 2 weeks. Nothing like being kicked out of the #1 spot on the charts by your older brothers. Again, we have the Bee Gees, this time with Night Fever, off the Saturday Night Fever album. Did you know that the movie title was going to be Saturday Night? Until the Bee Gees convinced producer Robert Stigwood to change it to Saturday Night Fever. The song remained at #1 for an incredible 8 weeks. Nothing like being kicked out of the #1 spot on the charts by another artist when you wrote the song that they took to #1. It's Yvonne Elliman with If I Can't Have You. This is the fourth song from the Saturday Night Fever album to go all the way to #1. Elliman had one more top 40 hit and then completely dropped out of the music business. The song, written by the Gibb brothers, remained at #1 only 1 week. Next, we have With a Little Luck by Paul McCartney and Wings. During the recording of this song, Wings lead guitarist Jimmy McCulloch and drummer Joe English had recorded tracks for the song, but afterwards they both left the band. With a Little Luck stayed on top of the charts for 2 weeks. Next in 1978, we have Too Much, Too Little, Too Late by the duo Johnny Mathis and Denise Williams. Written by John Valens and Nat Kipner, this song hit #1 on the US Billboard Hot 100 Pop Chart, the Adult Contemporary Chart, and the R&B Chart. This song stayed at #1 for 1 week.
We're in the middle of ending something that we knew was over. Oh, it was over.
Now, it's June of 1978, and another very popular movie was released. The movie was Grease, and the song is You're the One That I Want, performed by duo John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. How many times have you seen this movie? Can you count it? Written by John Farrar, this song is one of the best-selling singles in history to date, with estimates of more than 15 million copies sold worldwide. But in the US, it remained at #1 for just 1 week. time for those Gibb brothers to be back at the top. But this time, it's just younger brother Andy Gibb with Shadow Dancing. Written by all four Gibb brothers, Andy Gibb became the first solo artist in the history of the US Pop Charts to have his first 3 single hits hit the #1 spot. And Shadow Dancing spent 7 weeks at #1. It's now the beginning of August, and we have the Rolling Stones with their first #1 since Angie back in 1973. And the song is, have you guessed it? It's Miss You from the album Some Girls, and was written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. Keith Richards insisted that the song was, in his words, a damn good disco song. Say what? I'll let you decide. Miss You stayed at #1 for 1 week. Coming up next is 3 Times a Lady by the Commodores. This song was the only, listen to this, the song was the only Motown single to reach the top 10 in 1978. Richie's father, at his 37th wedding anniversary, toasted his wife, saying, "She's a great lady, she's a great mother, and she's a great friend." The toast inspired Lionel Richie to write a waltz that he titled 3 Times a Lady. It remained at #1 for 2 weeks.
Yes, you once, twice, 3 times.
Next, we have another song from the movie Grease, and it's the song Grease by Frankie Valli. And guess who wrote this song? You guessed it, Barry Gibb. And the guitar player on the song, you'll never guess this, the guitar player on the song was Peter Frampton. You didn't know that, did you? The song remained at #1 for 2 weeks. Our next #1 is Boogie Oogie Oogie by A Taste of Honey. The song features Janice Marie Johnson doing the lead vocals while playing the iconic bass lines at the same time. Hey, I'm a bass player. Try it sometime. It's not easy to do. The song became the first certified platinum single in the history of Capitol Records for selling over 2 million copies. Boogie Oogie Oogie stayed at #1 for 3 weeks. Coming up next, we have Kiss You All Over by Exile. The song made it to #1 in the US, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. Songwriter Mike Chapman stated his source of inspiration for this song was the song It's Ecstasy When You Lay Down Next to Me by Barry White. I want to kiss you all over till the night closes in. Whoa, great lyrics. The song remained at #1 for 4 weeks.
Kiss you all over
We're at the end of October, and our next number one hit is Hot Child in the City by Nick Gilder. According to Billboard, it held the record for taking the longest number of weeks to reach number one at that time. Taking 21 weeks to reach number one from the time it entered the charts to the time it became number one. But the song became a platinum record, selling over 2 million copies. Hot Child in the City remained at number one for 1 week. Next, we have the Canadian singer Anne Murray with the song You Needed Me. This was Murray's only song to top the charts. The song earned Murray the Grammy Award for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance at the 21st Annual Grammy Awards, the first to be awarded to a Canadian artist. The song remained at number one for 1 week.
And I can't believe it's you, I can't believe it's true. I needed you, and you.
Mid-November, we have MacArthur Park, topping the charts by the queen of disco herself, Donna Summer. Written by American singer-songwriter Jimmy Webb, the song was first recorded in 1967 by Irish actor and singer Richard Harris. Harris's version peaked at number 2, and Donna Summer took it all the way to number 1. Hey, someone left the cake out in the rain. It wasn't Mr. Mike. This song stayed at number 1 for 3 weeks. Our next number 1 is You Don't Bring Me Flowers by the duo of Barbra Streisand and Neil Diamond. Songwriters Neil Diamond, Alan Bergman, and Marilyn Bergman say that the song's lyrics tell the story of two lovers who have just drifted apart while they go through the motions and heartache of life together. I'm sure this song tells someone's story. This song remained at number 1 for 2 weeks.
So you think I could learn how to tell you goodbye?
This next group ends 1978 with the song Le Freak. It's the group Chic. The song repeats the line freak out, freak out, multiple times throughout the song. Did you know that those were not the original lyrics? You see, songwriters Bernard Edwards and Nile Rodgers were refused entrance to Studio 54 in New York City. The original words were bleep bleep, and then later changed to freak off, and then finally ended with the radio-friendly freak out. Le Freak ended 1978 as number 1 for a total of 2 weeks.
Listen to us, I'm sure you'll be amazed. Big fun to be had by everyone. It's up to you, surely can be done.
So, there you have it. The 20 number 1 hit songs from the US Billboard Pop Charts from 1978. And as with any year in rock and roll history, there are plenty of other songs that were out that we loved even more than these number 1 hits. 3 songs from 1978 that I really liked that did not make it to number 1 are Disco Inferno by the Tramps, only made it to number 11. Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty, the song that had the best sax intro ever. Baker Street only made it to number 2. And Hot Blooded by Foreigner only made it to number 3. Unfortunately, these 3 songs never made it to the number 1 position. So, how do I rate them? I base my ratings on 4 things: memories, music, lyrics, and anything else I can think of. And for me, every song can be based on something different. So which ones, in my musical opinion, are my top 5 1978 favorites? Well, there's 20 to choose from, and in my musical opinion, again, this year, I really didn't like too many of them.
How dare you?
I wasn't much into disco, but I guess for number 78, I didn't have much choice. So here we go. And my number 5 is Kiss You All Over by Exile. I really like the lyrics. They remind me of my younger days. I really like the lyrics. They remind me of my younger days. Oh, to be young again. Kiss You All Over by Exile at my number 5.
Over again. I wanna kiss you all over.
Next, at my number 4 is With a Little Luck by Paul McCartney and Wings. The song made my number 4 because of the memories it brings back. A few months before our son was born, my wife and I were fixing up the nursery, and I would have the radio playing while her and I wallpapered the walls and assembled the crib. The song was being played quite often, bringing back those great memories. With a Little Luck as my number 4.
We can clear it up. We can bring it in for a landing. With a little luck, we can turn it.
Moving on to my number 3 is Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. I think if I had to pick one song that defined the disco era, it would be this song. I remember back in the 90s, I was in a play, and I had to dance to this song. You know, do the John Travolta thing, you know? And dance with another young lady to Staying Alive. Actually, I think we did a pretty good job. Staying Alive from the Saturday Night Fever album comes in at my number 3.
Staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody shaking. Staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive.
My number 2 song for 1978 is Le Freak by Chic. Bernard Edwards of Chic really had those bass lines down. And it's one of those songs that makes you want to get up and dance. Okay, so I did like a little bit of disco back then.
People are suffering.
However, go back and watch the movie Stripes and look at the shirt that Judge Reinhold is wearing after they all get caught from being out too late. I want that shirt. If you want to send me one, I'll give you my address. Check out the movie Le Freak as my number 2 for 1978. And my favorite number one song of 1978 is
I got to know.
Three Times a Lady by the Commodores. This is one of the most beautiful, slow love songs ever written. And Lionel Richie lays down the vocals so smoothly. If my wife and I ever went to a dance, I always hoped the band would play this song because it's the perfect slow dance song. Three Times a Lady by Lionel Richie and the Commodores. My number one out of all the number ones for 1978.
Three times a lady, and I love.
Well, there you have it. The 20 number one hit songs from the year 1978, and in my musical opinion, my top 5 from that year. What were your top 5 songs from this year? It was a big year for disco. Leave your favorites in the comments below.
You must choose. But choose wisely.
I do love reading about the songs that are your favorites. Well, I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, revisiting all the number one hit songs from 1978. Come back again when I take us through another year in rock and roll history, look at every number one hit song from that year, and then, in my musical opinion, give you my top 5. Well, this is Mr. Mike, and I will see you next time in our next episode of In My Musical Opinion. Keep rocking out there.